Well, good morning, everybody. This is Renee coming in to you from Las Vegas, and it's a sunny Las Vegas today. Welcome to all the viewers that are online. Those are from overseas. Good evening. Hope you had a good day. Karen and I are here today to answer questions. I do have questions that have come in advance, so I will read off those. If anybody would want to type in some questions on the chat box, we'll answer those as well. So let me welcome Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hey, Renee, how are you?
I'm well, thanks.
And it's sunny here too, by the way.
Karen is in Arizona.
It's always sunny in Arizona, right?
Right, so they say. So, Karen, you're going to just give us a brief synopsis of the Nature's Secret to Digestion and Detox, just to bring people up to speed if they didn't get to watch the actual video.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Okay, great. So digestion begins in the brain, and we see food or we smell food, and it sends a message to our brain, which then sends a message to our mouth to start creating saliva full of enzymes to break down our food. Now, at the same time, the brain also sends a message to our stomach to increase its production of hydrochloric acid. We then bring this food into our mouth, and we chew about 25 to 50 times to break it down. And when we swallow, it travels down the esophagus and into our stomach. Then once it's in our stomach, our food is then broken apart to release nutrients from the food. And then at this point, everything is turned into a liquid, mushy mass, as you will. And in the mouth, it starts off as food, and then as we chew it up and we mix it with our saliva, it then turns from the word food to bolus. Then when it goes into the stomach, the bolus will then turn into chyme. And at this point, the chyme then leaves the stomach via the pyloric canal, which then triggers the three parts of the small intestine to prepare for that incoming food and to absorb the toxins that we eat. So toxins from our food, toxins that we put on our skin, toxins that we breathe in are all absorbed into the bloodstream as well, along with the nutrients from the food. So all of the nutrients and toxins are then sent to the liver via the bloodstream.
Bolus.
Some go into the, then when it goes into the stomach, the bolus will then turn into chyme. And at this point, the chyme then leaves the stomach via the pyloric canal, which then triggers the three parts of the small intestine to prepare for that incoming food and to absorb the toxins that we eat. So toxins from our food, toxins that we put on our skin, toxins that we breathe in are all absorbed into the bloodstream as well, along with the nutrients from the food. So all of the nutrients and toxins are then sent to the liver via the bloodstream. Bolus. Some go into the, then when it goes into the stomach, the bolus will then turn into chyme. And at this point, the chyme then leaves the stomach via the pyloric canal, which then triggers the three parts of the small intestine to prepare for that incoming food and to absorb the toxins that we eat. So toxins from our food, toxins that we put on our skin, toxins that we... I just thought we would wait until that part finished, and then maybe we can continue. So all of the toxins are then sent to the liver via the bloodstream. Okay, well, it says we're still live, Renee, so I'll just continue.
Okay.
So at this point, I can hear everything, so I actually know where we left off. So all nutrients and the toxins are sent to the liver via the bloodstream. And then the liver then sends those nutrients where they're needed in the body and turns the toxins from a harmful substance into a less harmful substance so that you can excrete it from your body via your kidneys or your colon. The jejunum and the ileum are all about absorption, and this is where we absorb everything, of course with the help of the microvilli that are found in the jejunum and the ileum. And they contain villi and microvilli, which are microscopic finger-like projections that just basically flow back and forth, and they catch all the nutrients as they come down the small intestines. And if any of the nutrients need to be further broken down, they're further broken down by enzymes in the microvilli. So once the nutrients are all broken down, the undigested parts of the food, such as the cellulose, along with cellular debris and just other things that couldn't be broken down, pass from the small intestine into the large intestine. And then if you have your appendix, there will be an abundance of good bacteria that will then munch on the fiber and actually ferment into the substance called butyric acid, as well as some of our vitamins, vitamin K2, for instance, and B vitamins. So the colon is merely the waste collection and expeller, if you will. It's meant for short-term storage. We're not supposed to store stuff long-term there. And you have your ascending colon, which is the part going up, that will monitor whether or not you need water. And then the transverse colon going across will take the water and the leftover fibers and ferment the fermented fibers, I should say, and the undigested material, and along with the water, just basically plump it up, and it makes it become mushy. Then once it rounds from the transverse colon into the descending colon, the mass starts to become more bulky and hard, and it will eventually make its way down and exit the body via the anus. So the entire digestive tract from the mouth to the anus is one big tube that is for the most part enclosed and not open to the rest of the body. And the microvilli and the tight junctions between them keep everything else out of the bloodstream except what is meant to go to the liver, and that would be the nutrients and the toxins as well. So however, with our lifestyles and the way our lifestyles have evolved, we're not experiencing this complete breakdown of digestive, the complete breakdown of the digestive system, and that, Renee, is the abridged version of the digestive tract and digestion.
Great, thank you so much, Karen. That gives everybody an idea of what happened in the first webinar we had. So, Karen, do you want to give out the information on your special that you're running today? No?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, maybe we should just do a check-in just to make sure that everybody can hear us. What do you think?
Yes, I already had one feedback that it's perfect. The sound is good and hearing everything. So I think
okay.
Good to go. Do you want to do the questions?
Yeah, sure. Just in terms of my special, and as we go through our questions, it'll probably make more sense. I just need to turn off my Facebook. Sorry, there we go. Oh my gosh. Okay, so of course I don't have the URL, so I'll need your help there, Renee. But basically what I'm running today is as we go through this, and we've just talked about the digestive system, I have what is called a symptomatology, and what it does is it lets me know where some of your nutrient deficiencies may be happening, like you could have low calcium or low magnesium, or maybe you're having some problems with some of the systems, like your hormonal system, your adrenals, or your thyroid, or maybe you're having digestive issues. So by just doing this symptomatology, which is very easy to do, it lets me know where your nutritional deficiencies are and which systems or organs may be compromised, and then give some suggestions on what you can do with that. And I don't have the link on me. Do you have it, Renee? I can't believe I don't have the link. Perfect salesperson. I can get it. It's on my website, KarenLangston.com, and if you go under programs, you'll see it come up there, but I can pull it up in just 1 second. Gotta love live, right?
Yeah, Karen,
let's see, programs.
While you're doing that,
I got it.
There is a cart button that they can click on, and that'll take them straight to your website and your offer.
Oh, then that's perfect. So if you're listening to this in the car, and you've got a recording of this, right, Renee?
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. So it's just KarenLangston.com/shop/introductory consultation. And basically what it does is, like I said, it's a 1 hour consultation. So once I get that symptomatology back, you and I go through it, and we just figure out how we can get you back on track. And for those who order it within the next, is it 15 minutes until the end of this, I guess, I'm going to offer you my Healthified Pantry. It's an ebook that I wrote, and it's a really good way to clean out and organize your pantry and then fill it with the healthier alternatives. Notice I didn't say get rid of, I said the healthy alternative. So if you like peanut butter, I'm going to give you the healthy alternative to peanut butter, because there's a lot of reasons why we shouldn't be eating peanut butter. If you like ice cream, I'm going to give you the healthier versions of ice cream. So it's not about giving up, it's about replacing with healthier versions. So in the next 15 minutes, or at least until the end of this, you would be able to get that book for free as well. Okay, Renee.
Great, thanks, Karen. Well, let's get going with these questions that we received in advance. The first one was, when taking vitamins, is there a toxic level?
Oh, that's a really good question. Yeah, absolutely. There is a toxic level for some of the vitamins, especially the fat-soluble vitamins, vitamins K, E, A, and D, and some of our B vitamins as well, and minerals such as iron. So fat-soluble vitamins are not easily eliminated from the body and are stored in our fat tissues and in various organs as well throughout the body. So men don't have the ability to detoxify fat-soluble vitamins like menstruating women do. So what we need to understand is that vitamins and minerals are cofactors for enzymes, and they help in systems in our body function to properly work. And so if we're overdosing, we may end up damaging the function that we were trying to make better. So we only need vitamins and minerals in small amounts. An excess chronic intake of some forms of vitamin A, for instance, may build up in the body, and some of those toxicities can be like hair loss or confusion or liver damage or bone loss. And in fact, when I used to work down in Mexico at an integrative hospital down there, we actually had somebody come in who had toxic vitamin A, and she was self-medicating. She was intuitively told that she needed more vitamin A because she had a high menstrual cycle, and so she was taking large amounts of vitamin A. And it's a really good thing that she did come down, because a lot of the symptoms for vitamin A toxicity is also the symptoms for deficiency of anemia or something like that. So if she had gone to a regular doctor, they probably wouldn't have caught it. And so thank goodness that she came down and we were able to detoxify that from her. Vitamin E is another one, and it can interfere with the body's ability to clot blood. So this can pose a risk for people that are on prescribed blood thinners or who are taking aspirin every day. And vitamin 6 is, and although vitamin B6, although it's a water-soluble vitamin, in excess, it may damage the nerves, and vitamin B3 is another one. All of our B vitamins and vitamin C are water soluble. So quote unquote, we should be able to detoxify these really quickly. In fact, they're only in the system they're out of the system within 4 hours. But excess vitamin B3 can cause nausea or jaundice, or may actually elevate liver enzymes as well.
Great.
Sorry, Renee.
Okay, so next question. What effects does Tums or antacids have on our stomach or system?
That's a really good one too. So I'm going to take this in general to not just Tums or antacids, but even proton pump inhibitors as well. Seems I have a frog in my throat this morning. In the stomach, the enzyme pepsin functions to break proteins into shorter chains called polypeptides, so that enzymes in the duodenum will be able to further digest these proteins into amino acids. So amino acids are used throughout our body, and we cannot live without amino acids, because those amino acids then form proteins that keep our RNA, our DNA, and other functions in our body working properly. So in order for this to happen, hydrochloric acid must be present, and the pH of the stomach contents must be around between 1 and 3 acidity. So antacids or proton pump inhibitors neutralize stomach acid or actually cut off stomach acid altogether. So if we're talking about an antacid, usually it's going to cause an increase in pH to around about 6 to 7, making it more on the alkaline side as opposed to the acidic side. So this, of course, does not allow for protein breakdown, and it also affects calcium and magnesium absorption. And if we don't have good calcium and magnesium, this can lead to osteoporosis, blood pressure issues, cardiovascular, muscle cramps, leg cramps. And of course, vitamin B12 needs hydrochloric acid as well in order for it to be broken down and that intrinsic factor to attach to it so that it can be digested further in the small intestines, the ileum in particular. So vitamin B12 is used for energy, and it's also used for our adrenals, and our adrenals are about our response to stress, and so we use a lot of B12. So if B12 becomes low enough, it can lead to pernicious anemia, and it can even cause permanent nerve damage. It can cause mental confusion and misdiagnosed Alzheimer's or dementia. So more so than this, over time, a higher pH level, so more of an alkaline instead of an acidity, can lead to H. pylori, ulcers in the stomach or the duodenum. It can affect the kidneys, the gallbladder, pancreas, and eventually other organs and hormones. So you know what? It is a big deal. That's what proton pump inhibitors and antacids can lead to if we don't be cautious of this.
Great. Okay, the next one, would liver detox be good for me as I suffer from allergies?
Oh yes, this is a big one, liver. We need to be careful when it comes to, you know, quote-unquote liver detoxes. The word detox is thrown around, and it can mean so many different things. So a liver detoxification is really meaning to get the right nutrients in place so that the liver can detoxify other substances, harmful substances, more efficiently and allow for that phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification to work properly. So this may also, and you know, this type of liver detoxification may help with reversing fatty liver disease. However, you would have to look at diet as well. So a liver cleanse is not what you're looking for. What you're more looking for is an overall change in lifestyle and diet and working on cleaning up the gut and repairing the digestive tract. So getting the stomach to produce sufficient hydrochloric acid, breathing before you eat, chewing your food 25 to 50 times, and then taking in whole foods full of nutrients so that you get, and as well as breaking them down so that you can have really good poops, which is really important. And then staying away from the top allergy foods and then avoiding GMOs and that kind of thing so that this can result in lesser allergies because you close up the holes in the intestinal tract. So it's not really a liver cleanse that you're looking for. What you're looking for is more cleaning up leaky gut. That's what it really comes down to, and then just changing your diet and your lifestyle as well.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, our next question is, can the microvilli repair themselves?
What do you think? Can it? Let's throw it back at you. No, I'm just kidding, Renee. I wouldn't do that to you. Okay,
well,
so
Karen, I actually know that yes, it can. So take it away.
Woohoo! Okay, so the next to the liver, the intestinal tract is the fastest repairing organ. In fact, within 24 hours, the intestinal tract is already repairing itself if the conditions are right and we're allowing for it. So yeah, after some time and the right protocol, looking at dietary and lifestyle changes, the microvilli can repair itself. And I can talk from a personal experience, Renee, because I had my entire ileum removed through 2 resections, and I've also had a temporary colostomy and the takedown, which resulted in more removal of my bowel. And I don't have my ileocecal valve as well. So not only can I form really good poops, I know TMI, but I just have to tell you that. I just had my antioxidant levels checked, and I'm actually in the optimal range. Low optimal, or was it optimal? There was 2 different. I think it was optimal, and then the next one up. So I was in the next one up, and I can't remember what it was called, but I was like right on the next level, which is which is really good because most people would be deficient. And I'm also in the optimal range for my B vitamins, and my vitamin D is also on the high normal. So you can repair your villi, and the interesting thing too is that the intestinal tract, if one part's missing, another part's going to take over. I remember when I was working in down in Mexico, again, we had a patient who had stomach cancer, and the conventional doctors actually removed her stomach. And so they actually took the next part of the small intestine and created a little pouch. And over time, she was with us, I think, about 6 months. She was actually able to start absorbing some of the nutrients into her intestinal tract from this pouch that was made. So our body is actually made to compensate if something's missing. So yeah, you can definitely heal from heal your intestinal microvilli.
Awesome. Karen, I have a question here from one of the viewers. This is coming on the chat box. And he would like to know what is Karen's thoughts on antioxidants?
What's my sorts?
Yes,
oh, my thoughts. My thoughts. Okay, got it. My thoughts on antioxidants, we definitely need them throughout the day with stress and the wrong foods and the pollution and even exercising. We cause what's called free radical. Our cells can become free radicals, and that can cause damage in the body. And basically what happens is we just don't have the proper positive and negative ions that are attached to these cells. So when we bring in antioxidants, the antioxidants provide that missing electron for that cell. So antioxidants basically kick out the free radicals, or don't allow the free radicals to cause as much damage in our body. So we should be getting antioxidants. Antioxidants are going to come from all of our colorful foods. So our oranges, reds, purples, blues, and even some of our greens as well.
Great, great. And that question came from Randy.
Hey, Randy.
Thanks, Randy. Okay, our next question is, what causes bags under the eyes? I have heard it could be kidney problems.
Yeah, it definitely could be kidney problems. Not drinking, and let me just back up. So we have a couple of different systems that we can use. We have the Ayurvedic system, and we also have Chinese medicine system as well. So we have Qi, we have doshas, and we can look at signs on our body. We can look at symptoms on our body, and they will lead us to organs inside our body. So in the instances of kidneys, it's usually this area here that will involve the kidneys. So if we're not drinking enough purified water or too much caffeine and sugar, that's going to irritate the kidneys, and it will usually show up here as very puffy. It can also be an overgrowth of bacteria and fungus as well. So if you want to know if, so of course you can look at your diet. So are you taking in a lot of caffeine? Are you not drinking enough water? And when it comes to water, it should be half your body weight in ounces. So if you're 160 pounds, I suck at math, so that would be what, 160 pounds would be 30 ounces of water, is that right? No, it would be 280. It would be 80 ounces of water. That's why I'm a nutritionist and not a mathematician. So, you know, take a look at how much water you're bringing in. Are you bringing enough water in? So, and then, like I said, if you're taking in a lot of caffeine, that irritates the kidneys. If you're eating a lot of sugar or highly processed, refined foods, that is also high in sugar. So all of this is going to irritate the kidneys, and if we don't have the water to flush it out, that can cause problems. Now, like I said, in Chinese medicine, it's going to show up here. But we also have to look at, are there dark circles under the eyes? So the dark circles may indicate food sensitivities or allergies, as well as fungus or candida or that kind of thing. So if you want to know if you have candidiasis or fungus or something going on, take a look at your toenails. You know, are any of them yellowish, or do you know, or are they white? You know, do they have, or do you actually see the fungus? You can look at jock itch or jock fungus, that kind of thing, that's also an indication, or maybe an indication of candidiasis. You know, stick out your tongue, and does your tongue have a white coating on it or a yellowish coating? That may indicate fungus overgrowth or candidiasis as well. The other thing you can do is first thing in the morning, you know, have this glass of water beside your bed. Spit into that glass first thing in the morning, you know, and then does your spit within the next hour, does it create tendrils or tails, or is it cloudy, or does it float? That can be an indication of a candida overgrowth as well. So those are some of the things that you can look at when it comes to if you're thinking that maybe your kidneys are involved. You may also have like an awareness or a dull ache in the back, just above your lower spine, I guess, and you know, but you know it's not muscle. That could be another indication as well. Okay, so I need to turn my phone off. I thought maybe it was Renee, because Renee is no longer there. She has gone into a different mode.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, she's back. She's back. Okay, good. So I thought maybe you were texting me.
Yeah. The next question is, what do you recommend for persons suffering from diarrhea?
Okay. Wow. Well, I don't have a lot of information on that, so let's look at it in two different ways. So first we need to understand how long has this been going on. So if it's recent or acute, or even if it's long-standing, I highly, highly recommend getting a stool test done to determine if it's parasitic or fungus or yeast or something else, like E. coli or salmonella, or you know, some other form of a nasty bug. And I don't care if it's a long-term or even if it's just something that, you know, you never deal with diarrhea and all of a sudden you have diarrhea. I had somebody contact me recently because she had severe diarrhea and cramping. And so, you know, I just asked her a couple of questions, and it was from the last long weekend, and she was out camping and river tubing, and she said that the banks were pretty gross, and she suspected that she picked something up from just not washing her hands before she was eating. So I went, okay, so we know that this is acute, this isn't something that she deals with, but I still recommended to just get tested. And then I told her to get activated charcoal and probiotics, because the activated charcoal will soak up the toxins and the bacteria, and then the probiotics will recolonize the digestive tract. Usually within hours, the diarrhea will stop. And I couldn't convince her to get some form of a stool test done, because here's the thing, is that something like that that's acute, if you don't deal with it properly, it can cause bigger problems, including IBS and even IBD, in as little as 3 months. Because we're learning that IBS in particular is usually caused by some form of an infection, and it can be as little as 3 months ago. Now, when I was in Mexico, of course, it was common for E. coli and salmonella to go through there, and I used the same protocol, but I also used what's called the BRAT diet. Now, the BRAT diet is usually bananas, rice, apples, and toast. However, I had to come up with something that was more healthy because we didn't have grains in the hospital. So I did some research, and of course I came up with homemade applesauce, because we know what's in it, and it's just a matter of taking apples, cutting them up, and just putting them in a pot with some water, and it usually takes about 40 minutes. And then I actually learned this in school, and I never put it to the test because I never had to, but it was brown rice. And basically what you do is you just take 1 cup of brown rice to 8 to 10 cups of water, and you boil it the same way that you would cook rice, but then what you do is you strain off the water, and you keep the water, and you just discard the rice. And it has really good antispasmodic healing properties in it. And usually the brown rice would do it on its own. But if somebody was really severe, they would need that mashed up banana, probably for just the potassium. But I only had one person who ever had to use the banana. It was usually the brown rice water that did the trick, and then of course the applesauce afterwards. Now, if it's long-term diarrhea, again, get tested, you know, and then we have to work on diet. So keep a food journal. Get the coffee out of the diet, because that's just going to increase that transit time. It's going to speed everything up, and that can cause diarrhea as well. get a really good probiotic. I usually work with a protocol that uses 3 different types of strains. So I use a replete, which replenishes. Then I use an intensifying one, which is just to really get that probiotic in there to start adhering. And then I use another one that just sort of, if you will, make sure that everything's going to stick long term. So you have to look at the diet, you have to look at the lifestyle, and then really getting that testing done as well.
Great. Okay, so the next question I have is, what brand of kombucha tea do you recommend? As I have heard that some have alcohol in them.
Yeah, and this was a question that was a prior question, so thanks for sending that one to me, Renee. Here you go. This is what I drink. It's called GT's Organic Raw Kombucha. And all kombucha has alcohol because it's naturally occurring from the fermentation process. So kombucha is basically a fermented tea, and I prefer to make my own only because I want to control what goes into it. And I love this one, but I'm not 100% convinced that it's the best one. However, it is the best one for that I feel, because it doesn't have any extra sugar added to it. It doesn't have any stevia, and it doesn't have anything else in there. And you'll notice that this bottle is brown. This brand in particular actually has 2. They have a clear one and they have a dark one. The dark one, you have to be over 21 to purchase because it has a higher alcohol content. I don't even know if it says, it actually says on it, must be 21 or older to purchase. I wonder if it tells you how much alcohol's in it. But, I mean, I've never gotten buzzed or anything off of it like that. I mean, it's got to be very, very tiny amount. But it's just a natural fermentation process. So I do like this one because at least, you know, it has a clean ingredient list. But I don't like the fact that if I shake it up, it won't fizz over. And I do know that regular kombucha, usually if you shake it up, it'll fizz over. So this is actually a starter because I can't show you one of my own kombuchas because my husband destroyed them. Okay, I left him in charge and it wasn't a good idea. So this is actually a starter. So if you can get a starter at Whole Foods and usually health food stores, that kind of thing. So what you're seeing here is this is actually vinegar, and this is tea. So it's water and tea and sugar, and then what happens is you put in this thing called, I was hoping it would be clear, so you put in this thing called a SCOBY. Now this is a little tiny guy because he's just brand new. So you put him in and he's just basically a microorganism. He's a bacterial microorganism. And when you put him in, what he does is he will eat all the sugar, and then he releases probiotic into the fluid. And I'm wondering if I can pull up. He'll release bacteria as well as vitamins and minerals and that kind of thing into the liquid. There we go. So you can see a little bit of a strain there. It looks like just gunk. Can you see that? Yeah? Okay, so it just kind of looks like gunk, but that's your strains. That's your actual microbiota strains. So kombucha can help with recolonization of the intestinal tract as well, and I just absolutely love it. So yes, there is alcohol in it. So I would suggest that if somebody, you know, is not drinking alcohol or has a problem with alcohol, I definitely wouldn't recommend this for somebody because it could cause them to relapse.
Great information. Okay, Randy has another question for you, Karen. Karen, okay. He says, Karen, when taking vitamins, what form of intake is the best for absorption?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, the best absorption, of course, would come from your food. That would be the best absorption because your body knows what to do with those and is able to break it down so long as you've got that good hydrochloric acid and you're chewing and you're breathing. Other than that, you want to look for the most bioavailable form that you can find. Now, some people who are healthy, don't have any problems, they're okay to break vitamins down. Like, for instance, folic acid is synthetic, and it has to be broken down to folate before that we can take it in. But if somebody is dealing with high homocysteine levels, or they have cardiovascular disease, or women who are dealing with cervical issues, or abnormal pap smears, you might want to look in to see if maybe they're not converting folic acid to the bioavailable form because they're having a problem with their methylation. So you would want to go to a bioavailable form. So in the case of folic acid, you would look for 5-MTHF, which is 5-methyl-tetrahydrofolate. So I prefer, because I work with clients who have digestive issues. So if they have digestive issues, I know that they're not going to be able to break them down. So I want to put them on more bioavailable type forms. And I don't think anybody should be taking synthetic forms of vitamins and minerals anyway, because our body doesn't know what to do with them. So the more bioavailable it is, the better it is. But let's start with fruits and vegetables and whole foods first.
Thank you. Okay, the next question I have is, if you drink a shake, how do you chew it so you can get the enzymes?
That's a really great question, and usually when I'm speaking, I do get that question, so I love that one. Okay, so a shake is already broken down, but we want to make sure that we mix it with the enzymes. So this is where you can have some fun with your food. So bring it in, swish it around, in between your teeth, and just roll it around. Keep it in your mouth for probably about 30 seconds. A minute would be great, but if we can get that 30 seconds in the beginning and then work up from there, that would be wonderful. And then that way, at least it has a chance to mix with those enzymes. It gives us a chance for the hydrochloric acid to start coming up in the stomach. So you just have better utilization of the nutrients in there.
Awesome. Okay, next question I have here is, too much acid, what causes heartburn? Why do we need HCI?
HCl? HCl is hydrochloric acid. It's the short form. So acid reflux occurs when we have pressure that causes our stomach to distend, or that gastric distension. This is what we know as bloating, okay? And what happens is it pushes the stomach contents, including the acid, through the lower esophageal sphincter, or the LES, and into the esophagus. So the esophagus, of course, doesn't have that mucosal lining like the stomach has, and so that can cause burning or acid reflux, or GERD as they call it. So this is happening because of too little hydrochloric acid, not because of too much. You see, if we have good hydrochloric acid, it's going to kill off pathogenic bacteria, funguses, and yeast. It also helps to break down our food. So if there's not enough hydrochloric acid, this can lead to an environment that allows for bacteria to grow. And when the bacteria grows, it breaks down the food, but it ferments them. So think about your carbohydrates in particular. The bacteria is now chewing on those carbohydrates, and it's resulting in gas in the stomach, and that pressure can open up, like just basically, because the lower esophageal sphincter is a one-way valve. It's just supposed to close. So if you have this gas coming up, it can blow it open, and of course, as the gas bubble goes up, some of the hydrochloric acid can come into the esophagus. So when stomach acid is sufficient and the carbohydrates are consumed, and I'm talking about even your good complex types of carbohydrates. So it's not just bad carbohydrates that I'm talking about here. So if you have sufficient stomach acid and the carbohydrates are consumed in moderation, the hydrochloric acid can then break them down, and we need the hydrochloric acid to break down our proteins as well as our minerals, in particular calcium and magnesium, as well as vitamin B12. So that's why we need hydrochloric acid, to make sure that we're breaking our proteins down. They're broken down into polypeptides, and we have to make sure that the vitamin B12 is broken apart so that the intrinsic factor attaches so that it can be digested later in the small intestine. We have to make sure that we're able to utilize our magnesium as well as our calcium. So it's really important that we have good hydrochloric acid.
Excellent, thanks. Take a drink quickly.
Yeah, Actually, I forgot water, so I'm just getting like this little, I don't know what it is, I'm just like, but at least I've got a little mute button so you don't have to hear me.
Shame. Okay. Randy was asking, what do you prefer, pills or powders for supplements?
That's a really good question. And again, it's preference as well as what's going on. So if you have a healthy individual and they don't have a problem with supplements in pill form, then go for it. You know, the capsules I prefer capsules only because they'll break down quicker. If you're using a caplet or a tablet, sometimes if we don't have good hydrochloric acid, we're not able to break the coating on the outside of that. And some manufacturers actually add shellac. It's a food grade shellac to the outside of that tablet. So we might not break it down, and you essentially can poop those out unused. Powders are good for people who have a compromised digestive system, you know, again, the people who are on proton type pump inhibitors. But again, when it comes to those powders, you want to make sure that they're in the bioavailable form so that they can just bypass that whole digestive process and just go right into the bloodstream and taken up by the liver and utilized throughout the body. So it's more of a preference. If you're a shake type of person, for instance, you may want to have your, you know, your powdered antioxidants, your powdered multivitamins and minerals just for ease so that you can add it with your protein powder. So it's just preference as well as, you know, what's going on with the person.
Great. Okay. Another question. What's the difference between digestive enzymes and pancreatic enzymes?
Woo, a whole lot. Okay, so we have more than 3,000 plus different enzymes in our body. And I say plus because we haven't even discovered all of the enzymes that are in our body. So enzymes lower the amount of energy that's needed for reactions to for reactions to occur. So let's take digestion, for instance. So you eat this meal. If you didn't have enzymes in place, it could take like up to a week for you to digest just that one meal. Now, would you want to wait a whole week, Renee, to digest your one meal?
No.
Probably not, right?
No.
Exactly. So the enzymes come in and they speed up this process and they start to break everything down so that we can then take in another meal. So enzymes are, of course, found in our foods that come out of the ground. So raw foods have an abundance of enzymes as well. And digestive enzymes work on digesting your food. And pancreatic enzymes are proteolytic enzymes or metabolic type enzymes, and they work on the insides of your cells as well as working on breaking the protein coating that's on the outside of a molecule. So your pancreas enzymes your pancreas produces digestive and metabolic type enzymes. And pancreatic enzymes are different than the enzymes in your mouth and in your stomach. So in your mouth, enzymes work with alkalinity, and in your stomach, it's the acid in your duodenum wait, let me back that up. In your mouth, the enzymes are alkaline. In your stomach, they're acidic. And then once it goes into your small intestines, the pH changes to alkaline again so that those enzymes will start working. So pancreatic enzymes will work on the final breakdown of your food. So in your mouth, let's use amylase, for instance. So you have amylase in your mouth. That amylase in your mouth will begin the breakdown of carbohydrates. When it goes into the stomach, because the stomach is acidic, it's going to be shut off. So then when it goes into the duodenum, the pancreas releases pancreatic amylase that will then break that carbohydrate down into its simple sugars. So there's definitely a difference between digestive enzymes and pancreatic type enzymes. I hope that answers that.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, another question I got in was, is chewing gum okay?
No, don't chew gum. It's one of the worst things you can do. Not to mention that, let me just talk about the ingredients in gum. we have sucralose or aspartame or something like that. And these are just basically synthetic sugars that can cause stomach upset, and in the case of aspartame, it's a synthetic phenylalanine. And phenylalanine is an amino acid. Now, we have naturally occurring amino acids, and one of them happens to be phenylalanine that is used in our brain. So nerve transmissions, thought processes, that kind of thing. So when you chew gum, you actually allow for that synthetic phenylalanine to pass through the blood-brain barrier, and it can knock out the naturally occurring phenylalanine, but it can't do the functions that phenylalanine can do. So we can end up with things like depression or behavioral or emotional type issues. So the other problem with chewing gum is that it fools your body into believing it's digesting something. So if you remember, if you watch the video or even my little recap that I did here, when we bring food in, or we see food, or we think about food, that sends a message to our mouth to start producing those enzymes, but it also sends a message to our stomach to start producing more hydrochloric acid. So the gum is fooling your body into believing that it's about to digest something, and so it keeps pumping out these digestive enzymes unnecessarily, and then it's also pumping out that hydrochloric acid unnecessarily, and over time this can lead to chronic burnout. So if you're a chronic gum chewer, as I call it, people who are always, chewing on gum, as soon as they finish eating their meal, they're chewing on gum, that can lead to burnout. So no more chewing gum.
All right. Good advice. Another question, how do we get insulin?
Well, insulin comes from your pancreas. So your pancreas does double duty. Once it gets that trigger, knowing that there's incoming food, it will release insulin into the blood, but it also releases enzymes into the duodenum. So basically, the enzymes go into the pyloric canal, and the insulin goes into the bloodstream. So they're separate, but they're both working on the same thing. So the insulin goes into the blood so that it can start working on the sugars in the blood, and then giving the brain the energy that it needs, and the muscles and everything else the energy it needs. But it's also releasing enzymes to break down carbohydrates as well. So that's why we need insulin. We actually need that insulin. Let me just say one more thing if that wasn't clear. We need the insulin to be able to take the glucose, which is the sugar, out of our bloodstream and then send it to the brain or send it to the muscles, wherever we need energy. So insulin is very, very important for energy production.
Great. Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question I have here is, I have had my ileum and ileocecal valve removed. What can I do?
Okay, so that's ileocecal valve. So the ileocecal valve is right where the ileum attaches to the large intestine. So you have it's called the cecum, and you have the ileum here, and there's this little valve in between called the ileocecal valve. So if it's been removed, what can we do? First of all, don't panic, okay? Your digestive tract is absolutely amazing, and it's already trying to teach another part of your body, in this case probably the ileum, or maybe the jejunum, it just depends on what was removed, to start doing what the ileum was doing. The digestive tract is just absolutely amazing. So let's help our digestive tract. So start treating your body with love. That's number one. Get the right foods into your body. Stop eating the junk food. You can also get a specific fiber, and there's one that I use, and you can email me if you want, and I can share that with you. Or if it's called paleo fiber, and I like that one because it doesn't gel up the way that other fibers do. So it's really good in those types of conditions. You also need to switch to bioavailable forms of B vitamins, especially that vitamin B12, because remember I kept talking about that molecule that attaches in the hydrochloric acid. Well, when it reaches the ileum, that's where that intrinsic molecule allows for it to go through the ileum. So if you're missing part of your ileum, you may not be getting enough of your B vitamins. So you would have to look for not only the B12, but a B complex that has L5 methyl, it's L5-MTHF, which is methyltetrahydrofolate. What a mouthful, right? But you also want to look for your B12 that's already bioavailable. So adenylacetylcobalamin or hydrotetromethylcobalamin. There's a couple of different forms so that your intestinal tract or your ileum doesn't have to do that. So you have to work on your hydrochloric acid. So you might have to take an HCl with betaine in it so that you can start that breakdown process. The more that you can start at the beginning with what you're putting in your mouth, how you're putting it in your mouth, so are you stressed out, are you breathing, are you chewing, and just really help the whole digestive tract, that's what's going to make the difference. And I can share with you if you'd like. I think, did I share this already? It's been so long. Actually I said this, didn't I? I had my ileocecal valve removed and I had my ileum removed. I'm pretty sure I said that, right? You do so many of these that you forget what you've just said. Okay, I think I did say that. So, and I have no problems pooping. Now, it's not, what would be on the Bristol-Myers chart, but I have solid poops. And usually when you have your ileocecal valve removed, quote unquote, you shouldn't be able to have proper poop. So your digestive tract will take over and allow for the functions that need to happen, but you have to play an integral part in that. You have to tune in and start treating your body with respect and love.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I have one more question here, and that is, I've had my appendix removed. What should I do?
Okay, so the appendix, and I love this because I just finished researching this for my Healthy Gut Advisors program that I'm working on, and if you're on my newsletter, I will definitely keep you updated on that. My launch date is September, the second week of September, so woohoo, I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so I get really excited about the appendix because the appendix is like the little guy that's been overlooked, and it was really interesting because when I was researching, like I said, for my Healthy Gut Advisors program, I pulled out all my anatomy and physiology books, to just learn about the appendix. And believe it or not, none of them talked about the appendix. They just basically said that it's an appendage left over from our Paleolithic times when we used to eat raw foods. That was it. And some of them didn't even mention it, just said an appendix. That's it. So I had to do some further research. And what I found is that the appendix is actually part of the lymphatic system. And if you look at a picture of an appendix, you will see that there are nerves and this mesentery attached from the cecum, actually, all the way across the appendix. So how can you look at a part of the body function that has a blood supply going to it, that has this this whole matrix attached to it? There's no way that it's just a dead piece that's inside of us. So not only is it a part of the lymphatic system, it is also saying that the appendix actually stores some of our microbiota or our microflora in there, so that if you get an infection or you have a pathologic bacteria come through or a virus come through that causes a lot of diarrhea, once that's passed, the pancreas then releases the appendix releases all of the microbiota to repopulate the large intestine. So if you don't have your appendix, again, you have to start supporting your body. So the breathing and the chewing, making sure that you have good hydrochloric acid, start taking in those fermented foods, because fermented foods are high in natural bacteria, and I would also be on a probiotic for the rest of my life. That's what I really believe we need to do when it comes to the appendix being removed, because you no longer have that lymphatic support and you no longer have that microbiota support as well.
Great, Karen. Thank you so much for all that information and answering all those questions. Thank you to all those people that sent in the questions ahead of time. And thank you, Randy, for giving us some questions live here today. Karen?
Yeah, Randy totally took advantage, like right on.
He sure did. Karen, okay, if you'd like to just go over your your special that you've got going today, there's 5 more minutes for them to sign, to go into that add to cart button and for them to order your special offer. So if you'd like to just cover that once again.
Yeah, absolutely. So if it looks like I'm looking at something, I'm looking at my website because I'm so funny. I cannot believe I didn't bring this information out. Okay, so I have what's called an introductory consultation. And normally that introductory consultation only involves, just talking for an hour. So if you have supplements or, you just want to ask me a ton of questions, that kind of thing. So I'm actually offering you 2 things. And if you go to, if you click on that button, you'll be able to see everything that it includes. The one thing you'll notice that it doesn't include on there is the symptomatology. So I talked a little bit about that symptomatology, and basically I'm going to include that for the $97. And so the symptomatology it's a questionnaire. And the questionnaire is not based on whether it's right or wrong. What I'm looking for are your body symptoms. What are your symptoms saying to you? And they'll let me know whether you have nutritional deficiencies, nutritional excess, whether your digestive system is working optimally, your adrenal system is working optimally. It'll even let me know if you have the possibility of a candida or parasite overgrowth, those kinds of things. So I'm including that. So in the next 15 minutes also, I am going to also include my Healthified Pantry. Let me see, I'll pull it up here. Or is it? There it is. I'm also going to include my ebook, and my ebook is it's $20. So you're going to get this as well for free if you do this within the next 15 minutes. And basically, my Healthified Pantry is going to help you organize your kitchen. So it's actually going to teach you how to clean out your refrigerator and your cupboards, and then what to fill your refrigerator and cupboards with, and that's going to be the healthified version. So this isn't about taking out, this is about upgrading what you're already eating, and you will start to see some of the differences as well. So that's what you'll get, as well as my the introductory for $97, and I'm going to include the symptomatology as well. So once you fill out that symptomatology, and again, it's completely private, nobody's going to know about this. This is between you and me, and this is not about judging. This is about getting you to that level of optimal health that you want to get at. I think that about covers it, Renee.
Yeah, thank you. Karen, so are you going to offer it for the next 15 minutes or just till the end?
Absolutely. The next 15 minutes works for me.
Okay, so we're going to end this webinar at 11 a.m. US time, that's Pacific Standard Time. So you have until 11:15 to order that and get the special. If you haven't ordered it, you will not receive the special after 11:15. So go on now, click that add to cart button and order Karen's special. And if anybody needs to have more information on bioavailable vitamins, you can contact me at 702-443-6369, or you can go to my website, which is www.renesa.usana.com. I have put that in the chat box as well. Karen's website URL is also in the chat box, so all the information is there. And Karen, I just want to say thank you so much for giving us your time and your expert information. It's refreshing to get somebody that is so knowledgeable as you are.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I just really believe that the more I share my knowledge, the more I'm paying it forward. And if I can change the life of just one person today, imagine how many people they're going to affect going forward. So thank you for the opportunity.
You are welcome, Karen, and thank you to everybody that joined us today. And just one quick thing is I do apologize for the technical activities we had in the webinar, but I'm hoping that you all got to watch the recording and hear all Karen's information there. It was really great, and we were very happy that we had such a great response. And so for all those that have joined us today or tonight, for those that are overseas.
Oh yeah, that's right. We have people all the way from South Africa, right?
South
That is
and as well. So I want to thank all these people for joining in, and of course the USA people. It's great having you on our webinar.
You cut out. So we have South Africa.
The UK, London.
Oh, London. Okay.
Yeah. And then of course the USA.
USA. Awesome. And I think Australia as well.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if we got any Australians live today because it's in the middle of, it's early hours of the morning for them.
Okay.
But we did have on our live that webinar that we did previously.
Cool.
Good. Well, I'm going to be saying goodbye and thank you so much to everybody. Thank you, Karen, once again, and enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.